So good day everyone. I am Gashanara Faith A. Bulawin. Today we will discussing about evaluation of industry, evaluating of the internal environment, relating to evaluating the industry. So what is the five forces regarding the Porter's industrial analysis? First, we have threat of potential entrants are firms that are not currently considered viable competitors in the industry but that may become viable competitors in the future. Like for example, ani kay ang Tesla Motors production of electric vehicle and also a threat to displace the traditional powers in auto industry. And the Chinese automakers are rumored to be eyeing in the US market. Like for example, ang threat ang kuan man gud ani ang Tesla Motors kay electric powered vehicle siya while the others or the automakers are the gasoline or gas dependent ka mga auto vehicle. So, it is one of the threat of potential entrants. So, ang Tesla Motors right now is dili pa kay siya sikat or I mean is kuan pa siya kanang ang pipila pa lang ang nakaangkod but then in the near future it is a threat for all the automobile what we call automobile industry because aside nga kanang makatipid ka sa kuan sa gasolina because it is electric generated kuan pud siya kanang unsan natawag nato ani og kanang more on technology na gid siya. The technology generated kini nga type nga mga vehicle under Tesla Motors. So the second one is the bargaining powers of suppliers to the automobile industry or auto industry include firms such as Lear Corporation who produces auto interior system. So mo na ginatawag nato bargaining power sa suppliers kay ngano kuan naman kanang naana po'y laing kuan ba kanang kompetensya lagi. So next is rivalry of industry competitors. For example, in the automobile industry include such as Ford, Fiat, Chrysler, and GM, nagid siya rivalry of the industry. So di na siya malikayan sa business. So what is bargaining power? So the bargaining power of buyers or those firms that buy directly from the industry such as automobile dealership, automakers also have to pay careful attention to end users, of course, such as individual drivers and rental car agencies. The bargaining power of buyers are those daw nga nagdirect palit sa industry, like for example, the dealership of the automobile. And the automaker company has extra careful or has an extra what they call that personal relationship to that kind of what we call that to that kind of person or to that kind of users. Of course, that kind of individual drivers and the rental agencies has a power or has big impact in the company labi na gyud sa ila ang what we call that revenues. So the threat of substitute for the auto industry's products include bicycle and mass transit. Luckily for automakers competing in the US industry, Americans are notoriously reluctant to embrace this substitute. Like for example, sa products, what we call that, the threat of substitute, like for example, instead sa branded na sanina, there are a lot of substitute clothing, including ukay-ukay. So, muna siya ginatawag og substitute. For automobile industry products includes the bicycle and mass transit, which is isa ka threat sa usa ka automobile company or automobile makers because ma-divert ang attention sa usa ka tawo sa bicycle and mass transit instead na magpalit sila og kuan kanang what we call that car. The rivalry among competitors in an industry. There a high level of rivalry tend to reduce the profit potential of an industry. A number of characteristics that affect the intensity of the rivalry among competitors are the following. The first one, or the competitors are numerous or roughly equal in size and power. One example ani nga industry is kanang nag-cutthroat movements like firm jockey for position. The next one is the growth rate of the industry is low. So the growth rate daw of that kind of industry is low. It means that there has a shortage of new customers leads firm to steal each other's customer. Like for example, sa usa ka kumpanya nga wala na siya bagong what we call that customer or client. So ang ilang buhaton is mga watog laing customer sa usag-usa. The competitors are not differentiated from each others. So this form says firm to compare or compete based on price rather than based on uniqueness of their offerings. So ang mahitabuan ni ang usa ka competitors kay mag-iya og paubos sa presyo para mahalin ang ilang produkto. The next one is the fixed costs in the industry are high. This cost must be covered even if it means slashing prices in order to do so. So it means that slashing, so magbawas sila og prices para lang mabaligya ang usa ka product or mabaligya ang usa ka produkto ana nga kumpanya. Fixed costs in the industry are high, and the next one is the exit barrier are high. Firm must stay and fight rather than leaving the industry gracefully. So, kani nga klase nga firm, magpabili na lang sila sa inala nga situation rather than biyaan ang ila ang kumpanya nga malipayon. Kay nga naman, daghan pag-angay at timanon sa usa ka kumpanya. So, maybe we have to do now that they need to recover in their business or in their revenue. O the next one is the excess capacity exits in an industry. This type of rivalry, when too much of product is available, firm must work hard to earn sale. Like for example, sa usa ka kampanya is daghan sila production or daghan sila og supply. So ang ilang sales or ang ilang what we call that mga ahente or ilang mga medrep kay mag-work hard para mahalin na nga mga produkto or else madaot or kuan siya kanang ma-stock sa warehouse. Capacity must be expanded in large increments to be efficient. The high cost of adding this increment needs to be covered. And the last but not the least, the product is perishable. Firm needs to sell their wares before they spoil and become worthless. Like for example, lani nga product is medicines, mga foods, mga condiments, or other products nga perishable. So kani nga mga firms kinahanglan nga ilang product is mahalin before madaot or ma-expired ang ilang produkto. When we say industry concentrated, it refers to the extent to which large firms dominate an industry. Buyers and suppliers generally have more bargaining power when they are from concentrated industries. This is because the firms that do business with them have fewer options. When seeking buyers and suppliers, one popular way to measure industry concentration is via the percentage of total industry output that is produced by the four biggest competitors below are the examples of industry that have a high or 80% to 100%, medium when we say 50 to 79, and the low below 50 level of concentration. These are the following companies were in high concentrated industries. When we say circus and breakfast cereal manufacturing, they are belong to 89 to 85%, while the medium concentration industry are the flight training and the sugar manufacturing. And the low concentration or fragmented industry, when we say, or full service restaurant, legal service, truck driving schools, and telephone call center. The high concentration industries, these are kanang kusog ang ilang halin, madasakan mo nga ni Steve ang kanang nasa minimum. So, but still, kusog yapon ang concentration sa usa ka company or kusog yapon ang haling or domination ani nga company when regards to um, revenues. And the last but not the least are those kaning industries nga nag-provide og service or kanang products which we say which will say, like for example, mga restaurant, nag-provide silang food, nag-provide po silang services, the truck driving schools, the schools, and even the telephone call centers. The threat of potential new entrants to industry. When we say this, competing with a highly profitable industry is desirable. When we say desirable, it is nice, but it can also attract unwanted attention from outside the industry. Like for example, the product of what we call that the product of United States hamburgers. It might hurt hamburger restaurants more than ever because it attracts unwanted attention from the outside industry. Potential entrants to one industry or firm that cannot currently compete in the industry but maybe in the future. So when we say in the future, sa hinaharap, new entrants tend to reduce the profit potential of an industry by competing its competitiveness. If, for example, an industry consisting of 5 firms is entered by 2 new firms, this means that 7 rather than 5 firms are now trying to attract the same general pool of customers. Like for example, sa diri nato, mga fast food restaurants, they are competing for the same pool of customers, which is kanang mga mamalitay nga kauna na restaurant. For example, ang nag-compete anis, ang Jollibee, ang McDonald's, in terms sa mga chicken, ang Manginasal, ang Greenwich, o other KFC, other po nato, mga even the small chicken businesses there is sa Iligan, they are competing for the same pool of customers. It's up to us kung asa ta mo ato or mopalit. Thus, executive needs to analyze how likely it is that one or more new entrants will enter their industry as part of their effort to understand the profit potential that their industry offers. Like for example, there is sa Iligan, ng parihar gid og tag-iya ang Jollibee, ang McDonald's, ang McDonald's sa mall before parehas lang tag-iya, but then karon wala na. The Greenwich, the Manginasal kay parihara na sila og tag-iya. So para instead na mag-compete anang akuan kani nga company is ayin their effort or extending their efforts, or the executives are extending their efforts for the new entrants to enter nga ang ilang gyapong revenue is mag-maintain nga high. The new entrants are what we call that nagbase sa economies of scale, capital requirements, access to distribution channel, government policy differentiation, switching costs, expected retaliation, and even the cost advantage dependent of size. These are the followings nga ina-consider sa mga new entrant businesses, especially nowadays in restaurants and even in the automobile industry, because this is a part of what we call that sa business, or this is part of kanang blood life sa usa ka business para mag-survive. So nabot tayo mga threat nga gina-consider of substitute for an industry's offering. So we have substitute in different industry. Like for example, cooking at home can be effective substitute for eating at restaurant, especially in challenging economic times. Like for example, gipitong sa katawo, cooking at home or a meal that lutong bahay is very effective substitute kaysa magkaon sa gawas. Next one, email and faxes are less expensive substitute or some of US portal services offering. Meanwhile, sa pagkakaroon, text messages can serve as substitute for many emails. So, mas dali gid ang text messages or else the call is dali ra gyud siya as a substitute for US portal services. Typewriting classes were once common in school, but now, since the expansion or ang pag-usbong ng personal computers and printers are widely accepted because typewriters nowadays are declined dramatically, this because typewriters are time-consuming to use, but the computers or the printers are easy to use and time-friendly. So the next one, railroad once held almost a monopoly position in freight transportation, but nowadays the rise of trucking industry reduced demand of railroad or mga tren. This is because due to kanang kuan pud siya kanang time wise pud siya or time friendly ang usa ka trucking industry. Well, the railroad you have to wait or you have to prepare time para nga nga biyahe. So the next one is DirecTV commercial compares the firms offering not only to what is fellow satellite television provided by Dish Network provides, but also the offering of a close substitute. Sa karon nga panahon, we have cable television companies nga mas entertaining pa siya rather than direct TV commercials. Now, the power of supplies. A supplier group is powerful if it is dominated by a few companies or is more concentrated than the industry that is supplied. Example ani, the Beers Company of South Africa own the vast majority of diamond mines in the world. This gives the firm great leverage when negotiating with various jewelry producers. So kanira gid na kumpanya ang na-produce or nagmina og diamond. A supplier group is powerful if there is no substitute for the supplier group provides. Like for example, artificial diamond are fine for industrial application. Real diamond are necessary for jewelry. Any group who thinks otherwise is playing a risky game indeed. A supplier group is powerful if industry members rely heavily on suppliers to be profitable. Example ani nga mga products kay kuan, computers, cell phones, and digital appliances, or rely heavily on suppliers in microchip manufacturing industry. A supplier group is powerful if industry members face the high cost when changing suppliers. Most computers installed in university classrooms are PC. A university that wants to switch using Apple computers would endure any more costs in money and labor. This strengthens the position of PC makers a bit when they deal with universities. A supplier group is powerful if their products are differentiated. Like for example, Dolby Laboratories offers top quality audio systems that are backed by superb reputation. This kind of firms at home theater equipments and car stereos have little choice but to buy from Dolby because many customers simply expect to enjoy Dolby technologies. The last one rather, a supplier group is powerful if it can be credibly threatened to compete in integrated for forward industry. If before a rental car company derives too hard of a bargain when buying car from an auto market, it should remember that Ford used to own Hertz. We have what we have five power of buyers. A buyer group is powerful when they are relatively few buyers compared to the number of firms supplying industry. Example ani is the Walmart. A buyer group is powerful when the industry's goods or service are standardized and undifferentiated. When we inani nga buyer is Subway can drive a hard bargain when purchasing commodities such as wheat and yes, since both are typically identical to another vendors. So a buyer group is powerful when they face or no switching costs is changing vendors. For example, ani mga circuses, a buyer group is powerful when the good or service purchased by the buyers present a high percentage of buyers' costs, encouraging ongoing searches for low price supply. Example ani kay mga basic commodities or toothpaste, um, and kuan po din ang mga automobile prices na makita sa internet. A buyer group is powerful. It can be incredibly threatened to compete or integrated backward in the industry if motivated. Examples, Sunny, Ford and General Motors are well known for threatening to self-manufacture auto parts if supplier do not provide goods and services at acceptable prices. Last but not the least, a buyer group is powerful when the good or service purchased by buyer group is limited importance to the quality or price of buyers offering. One example ani are the stereo systems and tires are components that car buyers may be sensitive to when making a purchase decision. In interpreting the five forces, using Porter's five forces tool, it is important to note that strength of each of the five forces are analyzed. The forces are typically ranked as strong, high, moderate, and medium, weak, and low. If these competitive forces within an industry are high, then the profit potential in that industry is low. Strong forces indicate high competition for the profits with that industry, making it less desirable industry to be in. On the other hand, the forces with an industry are generally weak. This indicates a stronger potential for profit and desirable industry to be in. A mixture of strong and weak forces means there is profit potential. There is equilibrium practice in this kind of industry. A mixture of strong and weak is desirable and also equilibrium, but there exists competitive forces with that industry that can dilute the profit potential. Upon doing Porter's five forces analysis, companies should make an informed decision on entering that market and how they might compete given the various strength of the forces. Given the strength of the five forces or the Porter's five forces, there is also the limitation of five forces. First, five forces analysis is useful, but it has some limitation too. It provided by its creator, Michael Porter, seems to assume that competition is a zero-sum game, meaning that the amount of profit potential in industry is fixed. One implication is that if a firm is to make more profit, it must take that profit from a rival, a supplier, or a buyer. In some settings, however, collaboration can create a larger pool of profit that benefits everyone involved in the collaboration. And overall, collaboration is a possibility that five forces analysis tends to downplay. The relationship among the rivals in industry are defective and adversarial. In reality, the relationship of some adversarial and sometimes collaborative. When we say General Motors and Toyota compete fiercely or around the world, but they also have worked together in joint ventures. So the five forces analysis tend to portray a firm's relationship with supplier and buyers as adversarial, but many firms find a way to collaborate with this party or mutual benefit. Indeed, concepts such as just-in-time inventory system depend heavily on firm working as a partner with its suppliers and buyers. So that's end up of my report or my topic. Thank you for listening.